If we could move to the supplementary agenda item number 67, Victoria Street and Accessible City Streetscape Improvements and Transport Changes. It's a team of people here. We'll start off with, are there any questions? All good. Would someone like to move the recommendation? Pauline? Someone like to second the recommendation? Phil? Yanni?
Just to speak whenever, but I'll let others go first. Maybe the ones that moved it. Or...
I don't think that there's no questions or anything like that. We'll just go straight to debate.
Okay.
Yep. Pauline, would you like to lead off then?
Yeah, just this came to our Environment Committee last week, and the main, I think the main thing I took away from that meeting was that incredibly happy that the people who were consulted with about the whole process, that they really felt they were listened to, they felt that there were changes made in response to their submissions, and they were generally very happy with the outcome, with the second option, not the second option, but what we've ended up with. And to me, I'm seeing this time and again, this incredibly positive feedback about our consultation processes. We had a good one with the Papanui Parallel. This is a good one too, and I think it's reflecting a very big change in the organisation. And I really want to thank staff on all the work they've done on this, and it's been a really tricky one. There have been parking reductions, but to the level that people are finding manageable. So I think we've reached a good compromise, and we're getting the outcome that we want by reducing the number of cars as well. So I just want to congratulate staff on a really good process.
Phil?
Look, I thank staff too for a huge amount of work, enormous, and I think I agree with Pauline that this is really a good outcome. In fact, I'm pleasantly surprised. And I think there was quite a lot of misunderstanding in the first place by some groups that in fact this would be like car free. It was never going to be that. In fact, it was always going to be a public transport route, like it has been for over 100 years. And I think the great thing though, like last evening I had a conversation with the person who made the submission from Spokes, who'd been really concerned about where cycleways fit, and he understood and agreed that in fact there would be a place for bikes, that in fact, and he was also pleased that in fact their concerns have been heard, and will make sure that cyclists are as safe as possible, particularly because this will be a 30k speed area, and particularly, and the way I think we got agreement from the different views in the community was that in fact the main goal of achieving a huge reduction of the number of cars going down there, like reducing it by 10,000, in fact that can be achieved. So altogether I think we've gone a long way to getting satisfaction with the Victoria Street plan.
Yep. Yanni?
Yeah.
And then David. Yeah.
I don't support this project. I have a lot of concerns about the design, the ultimate safety of the design, with the heavy vehicles like buses, cyclists, cars and pedestrians all being kind of congested into the one area, and also are unconvinced of what will happen with the traffic in that northern part of this area around Beeley Ave, Montreal Street. I think that there needs to be an overall traffic plan, and you'll see that there was a report that came out from government around the accessible transport plan and the risk around it not being fully funded and not delivering on the benefits. I haven't actually seen that report yet, but I await a copy. To me, we actually need to have a much more holistic approach to what we're doing with traffic coming in from the north. My understanding is we've got something like 40,000 extra vehicles coming through the northern motorway and extension into Beeley Ave or into that vicinity, and that's all going to need a lot of thought about what we're doing. At the same time, we're slowing down traffic in the central city, so where is that traffic going to go? But putting those safety concerns to one side, and a lack of an overall plan for the accessible city, which is, was done a long time ago and needs to be updated and rethought given the funding constraints. The biggest problem I have with this is the amount of money. This is over $8 million being spent. There's $7.2 million for this specific project, and in a few years' time, in the year 2018 and 19, another $1 million being spent on intersection improvements for this area as well. So $8 million. I don't support $8 million going into Victoria Street. The issue for me is that there is much more higher priorities in our city at the moment. We've just had one for Midway Street that you've just voted on before. That is where our money should be going, fixing the streets properly in the suburbs rather than gold plating these central city streets that actually don't need this amount of money spent on them now. And if in time there's the luxury of having extra capital to invest in these things, then that is when it should be considered. But at the moment, I think our priority should be around fixing those broken streets in our suburbs that are getting poor patch repairs done and giving local residents an awful degree of amenity that will now not be funded for a very long time to be fixed properly, and that's what concerns me. So I won't be voting for this. It's a huge amount of money, 4 years worth of our footpath repair budget in one project, and that's why I'm not supporting it.
David?
Thank you. Look, I'd just like to sort of compliment the process that we've gone through with this, and we heard something like 18 submissions the other day, and I believe in the end we came to a resolution that pretty much satisfied most of the submitters that came before us. I would like to just reiterate one point that I made at the meeting the other day. Whilst I supported the direction of the plan, I do have an ongoing concern about the propensity to throw our bike lanes and our bus lanes together, and when we don't seem to be thinking outside the square and trying to actually separate our cyclists from traffic. I would dearly love to see this project flip the cycle lane into a shared footpath and cycleway, and I appreciate the explanation that I was given about trying to have cycle safety with cars opening doors and separation between the two areas. And we have the prospect now of cars parking, and they'll have to park back across the cycle lane to get into car parks. So I don't think we're actually, as a city, thinking enough about trying to maintain separation between cyclists and vehicular traffic. And if there's one thing that I would thoroughly recommend going forward, that we do give more concern. I know it's a bit more expensive, and I'm sure there are ways to mitigate those costs, but surely the ultimate aim is to provide cycleways that are safe for our cycling population and avoid throwing them into the same sort of pathway as buses and other traffic. So look, I am going to support this recommendation. I did make these observations when we passed it through the ITI committee, and if at all there is a possibility in any stretch of this works to redirect the bike traffic off the bus lane part of things, I would certainly encourage it.
All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no.
No, just have that recorded.
No, record Jana Johansson opposed. Thank you very much. That's carried. The next